everyone, Mrs. Williams here, and today I'm showing you a subtraction strategy. So I call this the place value strategy, but sometimes you might hear it referred to as the split strategy. So we are going to break apart or decompose these numbers into the tens place and the ones. And so if we look at the 97 and we just look at the 9, we know that the value of the 9's the digit, but the value of the 9 is 90. So we're going to start with 90 minus, now we're going to look at the value of the 2. 90 minus 20 is 70. Okay, now we need to look at the ones. So we're going to look at the 7 and the 8. And you have to remember with subtraction to keep them in the correct order. We cannot switch the 7 and the 8 around. We always have to start with the 7 and then the 8, or whatever numbers are in your problem. But you do have to keep subtraction in the correct order. With addition, you can move them around, but not with subtraction. So I'm going to make sure I write my 7 first. 7 minus 8. And you might think to yourself, oh, that's 1. But remember, if you have 7 of something, you can't take 8 away. So we have to get some more. We have to borrow, okay? And we're going to borrow from that 70. Now, we can only take a 10 from the 70. We cannot just take a few ones. We have to take a 10, a whole 10, because that's the tens place. So what we're going to do is we're going to cross it out and we're going to borrow a 10, take a 10, and we're going to be left with 60. So now the 10 is actually, we bring it, that 10 that we borrowed, we bring it over here. So if you think about it, it's almost like 10 plus, well, it's 10 plus 7. But there's an easier way that we can just write it really quickly. We can just, if I get rid of that, we can just put the 1 here. And remember, that's the tens place, okay? So it's the digit's 1, but the value is 10, and show 17. Okay, but remember, what you're doing is you're borrowing that 10 and you're adding it to the 7 to make 17. So now we have 17 minus 8, which is 17 minus 8, which is 9. And now, because we decompose that number, now we got to put it back together. So this is where it gets a little tricky because we're going to add those back together, even though we're doing a subtraction problem. Okay, but we already did all of our subtraction when we broke it down by place value. But now we have to just put the number back together. So 60 plus 9 is 69. And then I like to circle my number just so my teacher knows what my final answer is. Okay, let's try the next one. So we have a 5 in the tens place and a 2. So we write that as 50 minus 20 is 30. Now let's look at the ones place. So we have a 4 and a 3. And remember to keep those in order. So 4 minus 3 is 1. We didn't have to borrow on that one. So now that we are finished with all of our subtraction, we put them back together and we get 31. I'm going to circle that. All right, let's do another one. So here we have an 8 and a 4. So we have 80 minus 40, because remember, we do the value of them. So 80 minus 40 is 40. That's a double. Now we can do the ones, but remember, we do have to keep them in order. So 2 minus 5, 2 minus 5, which we can't do. Okay, if we have 2, we can't take 5 away. So we're going to borrow from the 40. And remember, we have to borrow that whole 10. And then that 10 comes down here and it adds on to the 2. So 10 plus 2 is 12. Okay, 12 minus 5 is 7. So now that we're done with our subtracting, we can put the numbers back together. 30 plus 7 is 37. Okay, let's do one more. Just to wrap our brains around it, let's go ahead and do this one down here. All right, So I have a 4 and a 3, okay? So I'm going to do 40 minus 30 equals 10, all right? Now I'm going to look at the ones place. I have 4 minus 6. Remember, I have to keep them in order. So 4 minus 6. Oops, can't do that because if I only have 4, I can't take 6 away. So I'm going to borrow from that 10, and I only have 10. So that actually becomes a 0. And then down here, I do 10 plus 4 to get 14. So now I have 14 minus 6, which is 8. And if I were to put these back together, it's just 0 plus 8. So my answer is 8. All right. Hope this strategy helped you with some double digit or even triple digit subtraction. See you soon.